Adam, you are an artist manager.
Yeah.
What's your take on this? Do you sue anyone who speaks negatively about your artist?
Because, the thing is that when it comes to suing, you need to show proof of injury.
Okay.
I mean, there should be a cause of action. That cause of action gives you that permission to sue. And for example, if you are suing for defamation, then you are looking at certain elements. First element you are looking for is false. Is the statement made about the brand false? Next one you are looking at, has it been published to a third party? You understand? So has it been said to a third party? And if that has been done, does it have what it takes to cause any negative repercussion for your brand? I mean, if all of these elements are clear, then you have every liberty to sue for defamation. Because one, what has been said about you is untrue and it's been published to a third party and it has caused injury to your brand. I mean, so if those things are not there, and maybe it's a certain ridicule or maybe you've done something and somebody has posted your video and the person is laughing. That one, you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt. I mean, before you are able to make a case before any judge. So, for me, I rather want to think that if you look at the statement, it's like they want to make emphasis about certain negative or ridiculing of the brand. I mean, that is what I see they want to communicate. That
not sue.
People are not about defamation, but it's about how the brand is being ridiculed. And they think that is creating a challenge for their business as a brand. I want to believe what caused them to stand up or come out with a statement is when Patapaa performed at Kwakese's mother's funeral in Aguna Swedru. You know, his performing antics where he was going this way. You see,
I've seen the video.
It was really trending. And people cut that video and cut Sarkodie's verse, which was a shade to him that they mixed that to say that Sarkodie's prophecy has come to pass or something. Like people were really making fun of him on social media. Like the way Patapaa was, his antics, it was really like if you see you go laugh. Then people merged it with Sarkodie's lyrics. So I think they felt it that what's up? Something Sarkodie has said and Patapaa was not happy. You know, Patapaa really came hard at Sarkodie.
Yeah.
And you guys, Patapaa go perform for funeral. Then you cut the video, then you make that with Sarkodie's rap. I mean, so I'm sure that ridicule within that space, that week, really got to them. And they feel like the brand is being not respected or something. But, yes, if anything is negative about them and they think it falls in the elements of defamation, they can sue. Okay. They have every right. But me, I also have some advice too for them. Because at times, they're laughing and the things, you, the artist, can create it. Because, there is the brand identity.
Right.
And the brand image. They are two different things, but they work in line.
Yeah.
When we say the brand identity is mostly the things that you force on the brand. You understand? So in simple terms, this HFM or this Doreen, look at the way you've done your wig, your
Kelly, Jerry called my lip.
This is the identity you are putting on the brand. So that if people see this hair, if there was a time if you see this haircut, you can say, this is Robert Clark, red. He's foist, brand identity is mostly foist on the brand. Now the image is how the people receive it, that interpretation they give to the identity you've created. So, a certain identity you create can give a certain perception
about you
to the ordinary people who have to interface with the brand. So, if what I see in that statement is that they think that there is a problem with the brand image. That is how people perceive Patapaa. It's like they feel people don't want to put a certain premium on him. People don't want to put a certain value on him, and they are not happy. So, if something is happening to your image, because normally your image is done, it's like external, not in your control. What is in your control is your brand identity. So if the image, which is not in your control, has a problem, then you can look at the brand identity. That what are we doing to our brand identity, which is creating a certain brand image? You understand? So you can tweak your brand identity to affect how people perceive you, which is the brand image. So, what is your behavior? What is your messaging? Which is part of your identity? Which is creating a problem for your image. If you give opportunity to Patapaa on radio, on certain platform, what is the behavior? What is the image there? Like you're saying, there was an interview, he stood on the chair.
Yeah.
People will laugh. Like
the student was pointing into the
face of the presenter. It will give people a certain image. You know, at times, certain videos will come out and maybe they will think that they are having fun. Like when he was like that pepper thing, yeah, I can't hear the pepper. You may think you are having fun, but it can create a problem for your brand image. And it may water down a certain premium people put on you. So, as part of advice, I'm giving them two. If they want to sue for defamation, they have every right. But I want them to also look at what they are doing to their brand identity, which is affecting their brand image. How they represent themselves. How they clothe the brand. How the visual representation of the brand. Because if they are not careful, they can create a problem with their identity, and that will affect them in their brand image. And that even also has a way of giving you out to brands who want to do business with you. They say like, this brand image,
you're not taking serious.
Because when they want to associate with you, there is certainly the transfer when two brands come together. That's why ways of improving your equity, we call secondary brand association for equity. So you want to associate your brand to a secondary brand, or another brand. When that association happens, there is a transfer of equity. So people use secondary brand association as a way to improve their equity. So if a brand is coming to attach themselves to you, they are looking at the equity they will receive. You will give them and they will give you. So they should be, they need to look at all of these elements and ensure that they are doing the branding. Because, I mean, Ghanaians and people have a way of thinking. And you have what it takes to cause that change. When you say brand, it's about the space you occupy in the minds of the people. So when you are not here and I hear DJ Fantastic, that image which is left in my mind, that space he occupies in my mind becomes his brand to me, and it varies. So if that variation becomes consistent by different people, then it means that is becoming your brand. So I mean, they need to also look at certain things. Because you see, baby and papa and credit. So I mean, they should look at that. In as much as they will pursue the legal side, they should also look at other brand elements and ensure that they are given the good identity in order not to give a problem to the brand image out there.
Right.
That's what I'll say to them.
All right. Robert, do you think that Patapaa's entrance into the industry, maybe some comments or some things he said in the past, even in interviews, I've personally witnessed him use certain words on radio at a point where I was shocked because I wasn't expecting it from him. And do you think that some of these things is what has contributed to him getting some of these negative comments? I mean, we've heard recently Yao Darling, who said that it's better for him to be compared to Kwame Eugene than Patapaa, where, I mean, he was asked to apologize on it. And then I mentioned how he also said somebody's music was not good, his was the best and all that. So indirectly, he's not taken serious because that's what he started his career with. Do you think that is what has contributed to what is happening to him now in the industry?
I think that for everybody, once you come into the industry, you come with a clean slate, and impressions are formed based on your actions, and your actions essentially create a reputation for you, which essentially precedes you, and based on that, people interact with you. So yes, you cannot take him out of the equation. He's certainly a contributor because obviously from cultural settings, there are things that are funny to people. There are things that people find a bit, distasteful or a bit like sort of like you being like you're breaking away from the norm of what they expect. And certain things are also seen as this is respectable and it warrants a particular kind of reaction from people. However, so what it is that for me, I think that it's quite difficult to control some of these things if you go the pedestrian way, because then people will have their own impression about you regardless of what you do, that kind of stuff. However, I think that when it comes to the media space, where we are required to have responsible journalism, because you're working with the truth, you're working with accuracy, you're working with objectivity. These are the three key elements of journalism that everybody within the media space is supposed to go by. Then at the end of the day, you realize that clearly you have to have or hold yourself. You have to apply some high standards when it comes to how you interact or how you talk about people whatsoever. And now, so in that particular space, yes. But again, I want us to be able to employ the elements of empathy, because there's something in psychology called illusory truth effect. It's part of media. And the illusory truth effect speaks to the fact that anything that is said over a particular period of time, if it's not the truth, eventually it becomes a truth. Yeah, people perceive it as a truth. And that becomes the basis on which they interact with you. So question is he suffering from something that really doesn't describe him because he's a bit different in terms of our expectations of how people should behave? If that's the case, then then it might have some negative effect on him. So and well, even the good book says faith comes by hearing. So what are we hearing about him consistently? So when we keep hearing negative stuff, then it means that at the end of the day, we will get to a point where all we think about him is negative, So it sits in that particular space. So I understand where the management is coming from, saying that, look, yes, it may be different and not probably following or, doing things as others are doing, but you guys need to refrain from the negative comments or comments that seems to be derogatory or things that walk in the line of defamation. And it was interesting, I was checking on defamation, and I think defamation within our law is both criminal and civil. So it's not just like, if it's published on social media, we even have the cyber law that is against that. So and even harassment is actually part of it. Right. So it's not just what is said about you that is false, but if something can be regarded as harassment, it also warrants or it falls within that particular criteria. So I think that the call is making is important, because obviously imagine that he is a product when it comes to music, and somebody is investing in him, and he's investing in himself and is looking at having his music succeed. And obviously music doesn't go music doesn't go alone. It goes together with your brand, your image, your who you are as a person. And so if consistently you're having negative assertions being made about somebody, then it can also worry daily bread, because then if there are brands who are supposed to associate with him, they are not going to associate with him, because eventually the perception out there does not connect with the brands and how they actually want to go. So I think if they are making this particular call, then they see that there is a need for them to be able to do that. So for me, it's for those of us who sit within the media space to be able to, curb this or refrain from or speak against, help them so that he can also project his career within the space, because the space indeed can be a bit brutal sometimes, if you allow things to go on their own, and like Adam said, for as long as they are contributors to the image that they have out there, then they need to also be clean and clear about what they ought to do to be able to elicit the right reaction from people, So that's what I would say with respect to this.
Remember this song he did for Kwame Eugene?
Yes.
What's the title?
What's the title? You don't remember?
Oh, you remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, this is fantastic.
How glad you remember the song he did for Kwame Eugene? The title of the song. Is it something you can't say?
Yeah, you understand. I mean, how can you?
Okay, and that was why I was saying that it looks like
you are creating certain things for your identity, and that is affecting your brand image. It's early morning.
Because you see, maybe right now he's probably hard hit. Because everything we are discussing, for as long as psychology, you can think about the emotional aspect. The fact that your social confidence may be weakened. Maybe if you're a husband to somebody, what is the person going to feel? If you're a father to somebody, if you're an uncle, and everything points to the family.
Yes, and you speak about husband. I heard he's normal with his wife as well. And who knows? I don't know what contributed to it, but who knows?
So these are things that affect people. And again, it's not just a product. This is like a human being who is doing music. So some of these things have got psychological effects on the person. So I would want us to empathize more and and choose the right path regardless of how the funny part exists. Really,
I think he has a title.
You have the title.
Tell her.
What is it?
Tell the listeners the title.
Okay.
Oh, that is not good at
You
all.
understand? So your brand identity is creating problem. You are creating problem which you are not aware, and it will affect your image.
Why that
And if you
title?
listen to the song, it's crazy.
It's crazy. But Ria, don't you think now that he's actually put the statement, maybe he's come to the realization that, listen, I need to be taken serious. I need to move away from all these things so that people can take me serious. Don't you think it's time for him to start doing things right?
It's better late than never. It's better late than never. I mean, if you've come to the realization, that's fine. And I think we'll all agree here that he has played a very major role, a major role in how people perceive him. I mean, I've heard a few of his songs, and I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but all the songs that I have heard from Patapaa that are hits, excuse me to say, he's jesting. He came into the industry as a jester. You understand? So when you come into the industry like that, like, it gets to a time people mention his name and you can't maintain a straight face. I've been on the same, I've been here when he's been interviewed before, and I couldn't keep a straight face. I laughed the entire interview. You understand, from the way he talks, the way he presents himself, so many things. And as you rightfully said, he said so many uncouth things in the public and, around, no filter. You understand, for such a person, it is hard to take you seriously. Let's be honest. It is very, very hard to take you seriously. So if he's come to the realization, we thank God that he has come to the realization, and we just hope that he maintains it. Because apart from him being funny, in quotes, he seems like a loose cannon. all right, maybe his management is going to try to control him now. But the Patapaa I know has always been a loose cannon. Says whatever he feels, even if it is right to say on air, if it's not right to say on air, so many things. So let's just hope that he's able to control that, so that the music he also churns out later on is going to be something that most of his songs resonate with the streets, but when we are talking about deep songs, something that has longevity and all that, it's hard to mention his name. So let's hope for the best for Patapaa.
We'll hope for the best for Patapaa. When I heard him do a song with Mr. Easy, and then there was one other person. It was Mr. Easy and
the Olale. That's
Akwaba.
Akwaba.
Beats.
Yes, with Guilty Beats.
Beats.
I was happy for him because I looked at the kind of people he did the song with, and you see there was some level of maturity in there, even though still his lyrics were a bit funny and all that.
Let me just say this. His song with Article 1 too was a very nice song.
Yes.
It didn't have all those his antics in it. They were, even when you watched the music video, they were dressed well, they were looking bougie and all that. So we thought, from that came the Guilty.
Chanson also.
Wait.
Which one
From
is
that,
Chancy?
no, that's not it. From that birthed the collaboration with Guilty Beats and Mr. Easy and all that. So, at that point, I felt like he could have capitalized on it to change his image. But then we just went right back to Ajita. You understand? So it's a lot. If he gets a good team behind him, he can pull something.
But have you listened to Chanson Tafremu?
What is that?
You see,
nice song.
That's the title of a song?
Chanson Tafremu. Go listen. Add it to your playlist. You'll love it.
See?
And it's also, they need to, monitor their brand presence online. They need to listen to, check the inside feedback, very important. And if need be, they need to adjust the visual representation they give us, because it has ways of giving us a certain image about him. And also, he needs to be measured when he's going at his colleagues, because
gonna come to that.
You can also make people hate or dislike you from the way you think that, okay, somebody has done this to me,
So
or
you just
I'm
want to
going,
react.
you don't even want to be moderating your reaction, and you want to go ballistic or go into the gutters in a certain way. If you are not careful, you create a certain perception for yourself. So from the VGMA suit, I think they have in a way refined how he dresses, and they need to check a lot of things.
And I think whether you like it or he likes it or not, his image would also change if he also looks at the type of music he brings out. His music contributes a huge factor to how people perceive him. If you are churning out, I don't want to mention some of his songs because people also enjoy it. I've enjoyed his songs too, so I cannot. But if you if you've churned out some music and you expect me to take you seriously, no.
But Ghanaians too should be cautious. If you say defamatory, if you make defamatory statements about
he has
brand,
also made defamatory statements.
that's why I advise that he should be cautious how he attacks people.
So if you are making defamatory statements, why can't you take what you dish out?
So
do you understand? His song, his quote unquote this song to Kwame Eugene is very defamatory. Can he take the heat if Kwame Eugene decides to take him to court?
give us more like
No.
So
I brushed my teeth this morning.
Ghanaians should also be cautious what they say about the brand. The fact that he's funny, he's passing certain utterances, does not give you that liberty to defame him, say things which are not true, which will hurt his brand. Because if you do that, he can also take you on legally. and you will be at a very tight corner, because I mean the only justification for defamation is truth. If what you are saying is the truth, that is the only thing which can save you from defamation. So let's be cautious.
Yeah, but you need to understand that cyberbullying, which is part of the cyber law, which deals with harassment, has got nothing to do with. Well, let me put it this way. Harassment is also one of the legal grounds that somebody can take you on. Exactly. So, in as much as we're speaking about defamation, we should also understand
it's
that.
Like insults.
Yes. So and those things are legal grounds as well. So we need to be careful, because again, in as much as we can say he's doing X or he's doing Y, that you may not want. You think, but if he's doing it, you can do it. The moment you do it, they can take you on. If the people don't, if the people that he's speaking against don't take him on, that's a different matter. But you can be taken on if you know what you're saying is against the law. So we just need to be smart about it.
Okay, and I also hope that once this statement is out, then there's been that talks, and right now he's probably trying to put himself together and stay away from certain things, especially comments that will get people upset or going at his colleagues when it comes to anything with music. Whether you're bigger, we've all enjoyed your era. We love your music. Whichever one you bring out, if it's good, it will go. If it's not good, it is where it's supposed to be. So that one, let's just hope for the best for Patapaa. We hope he doesn't come for us either for sharing our thoughts
we'll sue him
on
for
this.
defamation.
Now, we're from Patapaa. Kwabena was here yesterday, and he has a beautiful EP. If you haven't checked it out, please do well to do so. God of Restoration. Yesterday on my way home, I had to finish up what I didn't finish here in the studio. I listened to 3 of the songs here, so I went to finish the rest in my car. Go listen to the song, and you see when they say something is sweet, that EP is sweet. That EP is so different, something different from Kwabena. We all know the kind of music he does, but when it got to that side too, he delivered big time. But he said something interesting here. He said he was disrespected by a gospel artist for trying to make a gospel EP. Now, I asked the question about collaborations, and I noticed there was only Obapa Christie who was on the EP, and that was when he made that revelation. He actually revealed that he once felt disrespected by a gospel musician. He said he was dismissed as merely a high life artist attempting to create a gospel EP. According to him, the musician's response during their interactions made him feel like an outsider, a worldly person, unworthy of venturing into gospel music. He opened up about his challenge, which occurred before his eventual collaboration with gospel artist Obapa Christie on his, yes, that's the EP, God of Restoration. And he says that she made me feel like a worldly person. I called her personally, and she told me to speak with her husband. Kwabena said on Hits FM, and he further expressed appreciation to gospel musician Obapa Christie for honoring his request for a collaboration. So meaning, apart from Obapa Christie, there was no other person. It was just Kwabena doing his thing. And yes, he said that on Hits FM. Robert, you were here yesterday.
Yeah, I was here.
Okay. So all right, let's take a listen to the sound.
It looks as if our gospel fraternity even have an issue with, in quotes, a supposed secular artist producing a gospel tune. Yes, I don't get it. I know from a very reliable source there's been a purported agenda in the gospel fraternity not to push this EP. But I have news for anybody thinking in that manner. And you won't hear you. No, I did it to say thank you to the big man up there who has helped me, given me talent to be able to walk this life with, to be able to feed my family with, to be able to be Kwabena for 20 years. There was, one particular gospel artist, for obvious reasons, but I believe she was a bit disrespectful.
Wow.
Yeah, she made me feel like Asemi. Yeah. I called her personally, artist to artist, and then she asked me to speak to her husband.
What?
On this note, I would like to appreciate Obapa Christie, because when I phoned her to talk to her about doing the song, she even made me feel like she's rather honored to do a song with, and it was so humbling.
This is Hits.
Right, so that was Kwabna yesterday on Daybreak Hits. And, I asked a question yesterday. He answered, but it's something I would like to put to you all again, because I've had to interview a number of gospel artists. And anytime you ask them, would you or do you intend maybe collaborating with a secular artist? No. Did you listen to secular? Like they say, you even ask them names of artists that are really popular in our space, and they tell you, I've never listened to their songs before. I don't want to listen to it. And sometimes, I respect what they say, but is it wrong? I mean, is it wrong to collaborate with a gospel artist? If you are secular, is it wrong for you to do it? Vice versa, if you're a gospel artist, is it wrong to work with a secular artist? What is it? What is the problem? What is it that is making it difficult for these two people to come together and work? Secular, gospel. Hey, Edem, you are managing a gospel artist.
It's not even about secular or something. At times, you can even get a song from your colleague gospel artist, or a secular artist get a song from a colleague secular artist, but you can see that you are not seeing yourself in the song.
Okay.
You are not feeling the
energy. I think it was something Kwabna said yesterday.
People have sent him songs where he doesn't, feel the energy in the song. It's about how you communicate. There are times people get to me, they want collaboration, and I'm able to give them reasons we won't be part or we can't be part. It must be done respectfully, because the person thought high of you. It was why he or she came to your quarters to seek for your permission. So you need to reciprocate that respect. But if he said the person disrespected him, if it is done that way, that is not nice, because that is not how you are supposed to win souls. Let it be nice, even your disassociation, or you not wanting to be part. Don't let it be disrespectful, because if you do that, you make the person, think a certain way about you and your office. So, it goes to all artists. We need to learn to, even in our rejection of collaborations, it must be done beautifully and diplomatically. Let's not do that to ourselves, because, you see, Ucha Uteche Maria, Nambia. So when you do some of these things to your colleagues, I'm not sure it's professional and good sportsmanship. Let's be respectful how we deal with our colleagues, and I think we will be fine.
Robert, is there anything out there, or maybe a write-up, or maybe something that suggests that those two worlds cannot work together?
There's a common scripture that most people make reference to. Do not be unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Okay.
And so I think that's one of the biggest quotations that people have when they talk about these things. And they have reasons for some of these things, and whatever it is, you always want to be able to respect it. Some people feel like where they came from, if they walk in the path that they used to walk in, if they don't take care, they will not come back to Christianity. That's what it is, because they used to have a particular lifestyle and they want nothing to do with this, so they just stay away. Because again, there's a scripture that says, if your left hand troubles you and it can lead you to the path that you don't want, it's better to cut it off than to keep it for it to take you away. So if people make a decision that they don't want to go in a particular line, usually I want to respect it. You understand? And there are people that we've seen collaborations with, and these people have genuinely suffered from backlash from the community. You understand? And so one of the things you want to tell yourself is, if you are going to do this, be 100% clear that it is possible that you are going to get backlash. Now, are you ready for this backlash? If you are not ready, then again, you might not want to consider to do it because you think you are probably okay. And there are others who are, like ready and willing to be able to do it because they they have a different angle towards what their vision is and how they want to be able to go. So yes, you may approach somebody and then you get a yes. You may approach somebody who may not necessarily be ready for that, and you may approach somebody who just doesn't feel the vibe for it, and so that's it really. And there are fine gospel artists that I've seen who have said they don't have problems with these folks. They can mingle with them, chit chat with them, but they don't feel like it's their calling to do music with secular artists. They just want to do their gospel songs, and obviously that one you will have to respect. And I think that generally, I don't think he has issues with that. I think that what he's saying is about what he really spoke about is a disrespect. I'm just not sure of what the component of disrespect is. I'm not too sure what the disrespect is. However, the part where he's asked to talk to the husband, I'm not sure how it was said, but talking to the person's husband in itself is not necessarily wrong. Sometimes I book some artists. Sometimes I book some artists and they tell me, talk to my husband about it because of the role the husband plays. Right. You understand? So yes, I engage them and we speak, and they literally are responsible for everything all the way through to even payment and everything. Like they just deliver the artist, So I'm not too sure what constitutes that issue with respect to the disrespect, and obviously, Kwabena, he would know what it is that he gave him that particular negative vibe, but I'm just saying that I'm just analyzing the elements, and I want to respect everybody's position because really their life and their talent is theirs, and how they choose to play it is exactly how they choose to play it. And I just hope that at the end of the day, those who are able to go that particular way will be the ones to go with him.
Okay. All right. Ria.
Yes. For me, I also side with Robert when it comes to the scripture of believers not being equally yoked with unbelievers. Yes, I do. What?
Yes.
That part of the Bible is there. And I think the church takes it very seriously because most of the times you find it difficult when you are in church and you're going to get married to someone who is not a Christian. Sometimes it's even difficult with other denominations, and then the person is not Christian at all. It's kind of hard. You get it. So I get it from that angle, but the disrespect is my problem. And I feel like that's why a lot of people still wallow and linger in their sin. Because if I decide that I want to do gospel music and you make me feel like I am unworthy to do it and then dismiss me, sometimes maybe Kwabena is strong-willed, but then there are people who feel like, so am I not worthy enough? Then let me just go back to my normal life. When you read the Bible, Christ is accepting of all. You get it, accepting of all. So I feel like the disrespectful part is quite disturbing. All right, because it's not fair to anybody, not even necessarily Kwabena. And hasn't he written songs for gospel artists before?
He has.
So he's good enough for his writing, but not good enough for singing it.
But even that is a problem because when we've heard stories where, Kwame Eugene wrote a song for Joyce Blessing and it was a whole... Empress Gifty. It was a whole... people spoke. But as you said, it's not everyone who has the strength to be able to, overcome it or withstand it. So there are those who will be like, it's music. It's something about the gospel.
Isn't it nice that it's not even part of a secular EPO? It's a gospel EP. Isn't that the opportunity for all of you to even encourage him to stay there?
There are different schools of thought when it comes to this thing. There's no right or wrong answer for me. The other thing is that, to a certain extent, musicians are ministers. So when musicians are ministers, then what it means is that there is there's this element where people are seen as role models, and then they are supposed to become people that you emulate their steps. So they are careful to make sure that they don't work with somebody and endorse somebody that at the end of the person's acts now becomes
Rob, I
reference
totally
point to leading
understand.
people astray, that kind of stuff. So that thing also exists. So it's catch-22. We just need to.
I totally understand that.
Understand.
I
how
totally
people
understand
actually
that.
get these elements.
But being a Bible believing person, I wouldn't say I'm a pastor or anything. Being a Bible believing person, it is not Christ-like. Unfortunately, I have to say this. It is not Christ-like. Fine, you may not, collab with the artist, but the encouragement is even enough. All right, the encouragement that, oh, my brother, once you are here, there, stay. It's just enough so that the person feels at least worthy. How would you feel if now you hear the song and people are changing because of the song? People are turning, to Christ.
His manager even mentioned that they went out and there was this about the song Fatemi, the one featuring Obapa Christie. Somebody said he was touched. To change.
And this is not the first time the Be a Quiet song.
Yes,
that song
too.
is.
That song is.
It resonates with you on a different level.
It does.
It's
you
really
get
powerful.
me?
It's
it is powerful. So for you to just, you are a worldly artist, stay in your lane. Come on. I don't like to put words in.
The way I say it, as if somebody
look at a song.
was it said that somebody said.
No,
A
I
song
think
like-
he said yes. So he
Wait,
said what the person the comments says the interactions made him feel like an outsider,
Yeah.
a worldly
Exactly.
person, unworthy of venturing into gospel
Yes.
music.
Okay, I get where you're going.
Exactly. So I don't like to put words in people's mouths, but I cannot do it with you. You know how
Maybe I don't feel, I'm not.
Yeah, my church, my pastor, the community, blah blah blah. But stay on track.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. Well, I think just some messages here. Osman Nana says that Adam has really lectured us this morning. Great. Kofi Yesu says, good morning. What type of music does Ria want Patapaa to do before we take him serious? We should accept the fact that Ghanaian musicians don't take him serious.
He knows what I'm talking about. The question is very rhetorical. He knows what I'm talking
He
about.
says Ghanaians should accept that the fact that Ghanaian musicians don't take him serious. So, as Robert said, this one day we've heard the warning is there, but at the end of the day, it is what they would also do that will, obviously make people see through them. So,
Let me quickly add this. Gospel musicians out there because some of these approaches would continue, really. If you're not too sure whether you should have collaborations with people in a space, I think that you should just pray about it. Pray about it and be clear and clean in your heart, because that there is a window that these collaborations offer you to be like a number of people that it offers you to be able to reach with your message. That sometimes you being, you walking your path alone might not actually give you that platform. So that window exists, and it exists with some of these folks who are reaching out. Whether you say yes or no, it really depends on you. But if you are doing this, and evangelism is one of the things that you're looking at, or you're looking at using your lyrics to reach people near and far, and some of these things keep coming your way, just pray about it honestly, and allow the spirits of God to actually lead you into making a decision. Yeah,
I agree with Robert on that. It's very important.
Patapaa, Yao Darling, when Yao Darling made that comment comparing him to Kwame Eugene on the Showbiz Extra Saturday, and it still was in the chair, we called Yao Darling and we made him apologize. So we also ensure that, if people go beyond the box against him, the right things are done. So, we are protecting his rights. So he should also be moderate and measured how he also go against other people and be mindful of his ways, and he'll be fine. Right. But on the other side, I really enjoyed his performance at Kwakese's mother's funeral in Suedro.
Empress Gifty was at Kwalke's
Yeah,
mother's funeral
the
last
other
week
one
as well, over the
who
weekend.
took place
So,
in Accra.
yes, yeah. So there you go. This is where we end it.
This is Hits.